He was going to do an introduction.
We're just letting them know.
Okay, we're ready. Okay, we can start the Facebook Live stream.
Alrighty. My name is Stefan Treadway. I'm an assistant city solicitor for the city of Chelsea, and I'd like to welcome members of the viewing public on Facebook to the community outreach meeting for Trinity Naturals, an applicant for a marijuana retail license in the city of Chelsea. As anybody who's a member of the public knows who's been to previous meetings like this is the first step in the application process to open a marijuana establishment in the city. It's followed by several other meetings, including the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Planning Board, and the Licensing Commission, as well as an intensive state process. So the purpose of this meeting is for the applicant to let members of the public and representatives of the city know what their plan is, so that we can begin the process of negotiating a host community agreement and begin the rest of the process as well. That said, I will turn the meeting over to the applicants. Mary Susan Blout is going to start for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Susan Blout. I live in Stoneham, Massachusetts, and I'm the managing member of DMS Trinity LLC, doing business as Trinity Naturals. Before we get going, we do have 3 translators available if necessary. One for Portuguese, one for Spanish, and one for Greek. We are a majority women and gay-owned business committed to continued diversity in our retail workplace with a desired benchmark of 60% Chelsea resident employment. Our group is comprised of all Metro Boston individuals, no out-of-state investors. I have taken the Supplier Diversity Office course to be certified as a woman-owned business in the state of Massachusetts. All of our documentation has been approved. For the CC regulation, in conjunction with the SDO, once we are in an agreement with Chelsea, DMS Trinity will be fully certified. Here in Chelsea, we felt an opportunity to create a business close to Boston. Okay, let me just get this. One second. I'm sorry. I don't know why this isn't. There we go. Okay, perfect. A business close to Boston. We have felt welcome in our dealings with the city of Chelsea. Their responsiveness has been much appreciated and an integral part of getting us here tonight. DMS has already formed a community partnership with the Chelsea Collaborative and its executive director, Gladys Vega. We will speak more on that in a little bit. DMS Trinity LLC, doing business as Trinity Naturals, proposes to operate a marijuana establishment under the Commission 93, CCC, Cannabis Commission 935, CMR Section 500.050 for the purposes of retail sales of cannabis to consumers at 270 272nd Street in Chelsea. 272nd Street is located in the Industrial 2 zoning district. The proposed facility should not require any variances. This location has been reviewed as acceptable for cannabis operations by Chelsea Director of Permitting and Land Use Planning, John DePriest. The presentation seeks to address the following: company overview, including information on principals and consultants, community impact, community partnership, general operations, including the sales process, store design and access, proposed architectural design floor plan, including graphic design renderings, security, parking, and traffic. Company overview. DMS Trinity principals bring experiences from both private companies and nonprofit organizations. We all live in the Metro Boston area. We are self-employed or employed by both small business and larger companies. We have backgrounds in retail, social management, social media, management, sales, state and federal compliance, and real estate development. In addition, we are working with the following consultants: Jean Casale, a registered pharmacist with a focus on cannabis and its related products; Evan Dolber, cannabis retail professional; Jerry Gallo, retired ATF agent, securities professional; and Sheila Grant, our attorney. We continue to build positive relationships with local community residents, leaders, and stakeholders, and are committed to supporting local businesses and employing residents. A little background on myself. I am a lifelong resident of Stoneham, Mass., married for 20 years, and I have 3 kids. The DMS and DMS Trinity stands for my kids' first initials, David, Morgan, and Sadie. I attended Catholic school for 12 years, a lifelong member of St. Patrick's Parish in Stoneham, where I have taught religious education for over 25 years. Up until COVID, my 2 older kids and I volunteered to record Mass for the homebound twice a month, broadcast on Stoneham TV. I went to Suffolk University in Boston, receiving my BA in 1994. While at Suffolk, I worked in retail in multiple capacities. 2 very busy clothing corporations, including locally based TJX and 1 national restaurant chain. After college, I began my 25-year career in Boston television, the last 20 at WGBH Channel 2. At GBH, I've managed staff and freelance employees, been responsible for renting and purchasing equipment, managing million-dollar budgets, handling payroll, human resources, working with 3 unions, as well as reporting for our in-house auditor. I am mandated to take compliance courses annually as I work regularly with federal and other restricted budgets. I will be leaving WGBH to manage Trinity Naturals full-time. Now I'd like to introduce the other members of the company. We have Angelina Ventouris. She currently resides in Newton, Mass. She has 3 children with her husband, Teddy. Maria, one of her daughters, is at Regis College obtaining her master's in education. Nico is at Bentley University for business. Anna is at Mass College of Pharmacy studying to become a doctor of dental science. Angelina has real estate holdings throughout the metropolitan Boston area in both commercial and residential real estate development. As well, Angelina has successfully owned and operated a family-style restaurant in Boston's South End neighborhood for decades. Angelina's oldest daughter, Maria, suffered a stroke as a toddler and is now paralyzed on her right side of her body. One of Angelina's goals in creating DMS is to remove the stigma cannabis carries and make it more accessible to stroke victims. I'd now like to introduce Steve Byrne, who will say a few things about himself.
How are you all tonight? My name is Stephen Byrne. Currently, I have to change my address. I'm in Westford now, just the town over from Tingsboro. I'm in real estate development myself. I'm a landlord, so on, building, etc. GC contractor as well, mainly for my own business needs and stuff like that. I've known the group for quite some time. This was proposed to me, been talking about it for a couple of years once the legalization of marijuana came about into the state of Massachusetts. I suffered a personal thing back in 2013, which was the marathon bombing. I was a victim of that with a bunch of my friends who were hurt pretty severely. But basically after that, I suffered more or less the PTSD, and a lot of the options that were brought to me were just narcotic prescriptions to kind of handle the anxieties and stuff like that, which I'll be honest, I truly wasn't interested in that. So a doctor that I had come along with, because this is kind of before things were legalized at the moment, and he mentioned to me that, if you don't want to really go that route, he goes, I can't tell you this, but off the record, I'm going to tell you this. He goes, you might want to check into the cannabis area to kind of help with your, what's going on in your everyday life. So I kind of reached out into that, did a little bit of homework on it, kind of got educated on everything like that, and I will say that cannabis is one of the good things that really helped me get past a lot of the stuff with the anxieties every day that I was facing, and this is really where they reached out to me to kind of bring me on board, because they knew that I had a personal experience with it, where I can say I stand behind it 100%. I think that once they open up the gates more federally and stuff like that, it's really going to help change the world for a lot better, to get away from the big pharmacy and stuff like that. So a little bit more about me is I have 2 small children. My fiance and I are due to get married in about a year and a half, and they back me 100% on all this with everybody, and I'm just glad to be a part of this, and it's very nice to meet all of you, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Dylan Handy.
All right, so thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'm really happy to be here. I've been a resident of Massachusetts my whole life. I work in the technology industry. I specifically focus on real estate technologies. I help a lot of startup companies. I've been with the current company, Elm Street Technology, for the last 10 years or so. But I also have my own company for real estate as well. I have a company, Handy Properties, locally, do a lot of kind of real estate property type stuff for there as well. So really excited to be here today.
Thank you, Dylan. Okay, next we have Jean Casale. She is via WebEx, as Jean lives in Rhode Island and would have had to quarantine if she were here in person. Jean is a retired pharmacist and our pharmacologist, and she is prepared to speak. Go ahead, Jean.
Hi, so first of all, I am in Rhode Island right now. However, I am a resident of Boston and I live in the North End. And I want to thank everyone in the community that showed up for tonight's meeting, and happy that you're here with us. And hello, Chelsea. So I guess a little bit about my background is I have worked in pharmacy as a pharmacist for over 40 years in the community pharmacies and hospital pharmacy, long-term care facilities, and most recently for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for the Department of Corrections and State Hospitals. And my cannabis background is with the experience that I have is with my time as on the board of directors for Sage Cannabis, and I was there on the board for about 4 years, and basically from the very start of the application process all the way through the build out of a state-of-the-art facility, grow facility, and resulting in the opening of 3 medical cannabis dispensaries in Massachusetts. So my, first of all, I just want to say that I am proud to be on this team. It's a wonderful group of people, and I was delighted when they brought me on as a consultant. And I feel as though, just to give you a little bit of an explanation of, my role as a cannabis consultant, a medical cannabis consultant. Even though we are not a medical facility, I believe that there will be many of our customers will be coming in for medical issues. And part of that, I think these are people who are very, very aware of the benefits of medical marijuana. However, cumbersome, I'm a medical marijuana patient. It's very
We're losing Jean.
time consuming. So there are who know that there are so many medical benefits, and now this is an easier way for them to have access to the non-medical facility. So we community group, we feel as though education is count, and we want to have the information that our customers need. And so part of that would be having access to our consulting service that we will have, and their questions and concerns. And a lot of the questions are things like dosing. So it's very important that they have some guidance in this, especially with the edibles that are very popular. And people aren't necessarily aware that it's a trial and error period, and you test the dosing starting low and increasing if you need to. They might take a dose of an edible and think after maybe a half hour or so that it wasn't adequate, and maybe think they need to take more, but that is not correct. It sometimes takes a couple of hours to feel the full effect of the dose. So they would.
Hey, Jean?
couple of hours if they
Cutting
needed
in
to
and
up
out,
the
just to let
dose.
you know, you might have a weak connection. We can hear
So-
you, but it's cutting in and out, and the video definitely went out.
The video's out?
It is. We can hear you, but it's coming in and out.
Okay, this is, I don't know what else to do. This is
No, that's okay.
where I am.
We got the majority of what you're saying, I think. And if there's anything maybe real quick that you want to say to wrap it up before we lose you completely.
Okay, no, I just want to say I'm really, really proud to be on this team. They're wonderful people.
The same
They
way.
really are, so,
We feel the same. I'm so glad it
Okay.
worked out that you could at least get here this way. This is good.
okay, all right, I can, if you need to, any questions, I'll be here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll talk soon. Okay. Okay, perfect. Now we have Evan Dolber. He is our retail expert, and he's going to say a few words for himself.
First of all, I just want to thank the community of Chelsea for inviting all of us here, and then also the team at Trinity for inviting me to sit at this table. It's truly an honor. I am also a Massachusetts resident. I was born in Malden, raised there, just a town over. And I've been working in the Massachusetts cannabis industry for 4 years now. In 2016, I was hired at the time on the 7th medical dispensary to open in Massachusetts, Ermont Inc. in Quincy. I was hired at an entry-level position in order to be what is now referred to as a bud tender. This was a brand new industry, and working for a startup company allowed for a lot of opportunities for growth and to take on more responsibilities. And in about a year's time, I was eventually promoted to the director of operations at that company. I then later moved on to run a factory facility in Fitchburg, Massachusetts for a company called Revolutionary Clinics. And am now, sorry, I'm losing my mask. And I am now currently working with a company, Native Sun Wellness, who will be opening a series of dispensaries in Central Mass. And I'm overseeing the retail there, as well as helping out Trinity in any of their needs. I think there's one point that Jean made that I would really like to stress is that the group at Trinity is taking a medical approach to the recreational cannabis industry, and that's something that I'm really proud to be a part of, something that I think is really important. And yeah, again, I just want to thank Chelsea and also the team at Trinity, and we're really excited to be here.
Thank you, Evan.
Of course.
Okay, next we have Jerry Gallo. He is our security professional. He's going to say a few words.
Hey everybody, my name is Jerry Gallo. I spent 34 years as a special agent with ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives out of the Boston Field Division. I was on their tactical response team for 15 years. My last 9 years, I retired in February of 2011. The last 9 years, I was the lead firearm instructor for the 6 New England states, doing all the static and tactical and security training for my agency. Since my retirement, the last 9 years, I've worked in the security industry. I'm also an adjunct instructor at the 6 Hour Academy, again, teaching firearms and tactical training, as well as active shooter training for a lot of different companies and private people.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. And next we have Sheila Grant, our attorney, who will say a few words.
Sure. My name is Sheila Grant. I have an office in Medford currently. I've been practicing for about 11 years, specifically in areas pertaining to real estate, lending, zoning, municipal law, as well as a couple of other areas. And I'm just happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Okay. So now that the introductions are complete, let's move on to community impact. DMS's diverse management team will aid in connecting across a large range of different groups of people, including various protected classes. DMS aims to support and enter into the community of Chelsea as a positive, active member through providing a safe and secure cannabis retail facility, educating the residents of Chelsea about the use of cannabis and its related products, supporting addiction programs and creating educational curriculum for students of all ages. In addition, we will use Chelsea-based businesses to support the economy and prioritize residents of Chelsea when filling jobs, particularly those in protected classes. DMS's focus on diversity stems from our ownership team and will be shown in our employee diversity. reflecting a realistic cross-section of the Chelsea community, most especially those in protected classes, as mentioned. Also, as mentioned, 60% of our employee base will be sought in Chelsea, and we intend to find these employees in these various ways. Local job fairs, leveraging our community partnership with the Chelsea Collaborative, working with city departments who can provide directives on local candidates, and feeder staff from the Chelsea Collaborative Summer Youth Employment Program. We will prioritize qualified residents of Chelsea who are from the following demographics: women, minorities, people with disabilities, veterans, people of all gender identities and sexual orientations. We have developed a community partnership with the Chelsea Collaborative. I actually met with Gladys Vega almost 2 weeks ago over at the food pantry on 6th Street. And when I got there, I was taken aback by how busy they were. I asked her when we had a chance to sit down if this was, a bi-monthly circumstance, and she said, no, it's actually 4 times a week. It's always this busy, and we go through 700 boxes a week of food. So and that's since March, since COVID hit Chelsea. And I was surprised and saddened, but also very impressed by all of the programs that she's running. One of the ones that really stood out is the Summer Youth Employment Program. She described her partnership with the Chelsea Police and what that partnership has done over the last several years with some of the young people in the community. And as a parent of 2 teenagers myself, that really resonated with me. I would love the chance to help propel that initiative through our partnership. Ways that we would do that is providing on request, safe and secure conference and office space within our facility with the leadership at the Collaborative, working with at-risk youth through the Summer Youth Employment Program in these ways: provide mentors from DMS, both staff and management, allow access to office space, conference space, computer, Wi-Fi printer, other office materials to the participants of the program, set a path to employment opportunities when participants reach 21, work with the families of at-risk youth in team building exercises in conjunction with the Collaborative, Chelsea Police, and other community partners. In summary, we want to provide an alternative path for at-risk youth and utilize all our resources to help provide the best chance for a successful future for Chelsea's kids. Okay. All right, we have some general operations information. The plan as of now for the retail store is that it will operate 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, or as permitted by the City of Chelsea. All employees will undergo extensive training prior to their start of employment. During business hours with COVID considerations in place, the facility will accommodate 12 to 14 customers at one time and 3 to 5 customers at one time in the entry control vestibule, also known as a trap room. Masks will be worn by all staff and all patrons at all times. Protective barriers will be installed at service and cashier locations to protect both employees and customers. Product will be supplied by local cultivators who are based on the North Shore and Central Massachusetts. We have already signed letters of intent with 3 local suppliers and are negotiating others. So some information on the location. We have this exterior shot of 260, 272nd Street. 270 would be our business address. This is the letter of intent we have with the owner of the property. And now we have the floor plan I can show you. Overhead view, including some rendering of parking. And now for the retail space. That's the floor plan. And then we have some graphic renderings to provide some extra detail on the space. Okay, great. Now we're going to move into information on security, and I'm going to turn it over to Jerry, as this is his area of expertise.
Okay, we would provide security at the facility. We have licensed and bonded security personnel. The people I use are current and former law enforcement officers. I have guys from Mass State Police, retired local police, ATF, Secret Service, and various other agencies. All our guys are qualified annually. We have first aid training, and all of them are security professionals, most of them doing it as long as I have, 9 years or more. We have a security plan in place. We use electronic surveillance with closed circuit TV. Cameras are 24/7 monitored to a other location that will be monitored, like I say, 24/7. We will adhere to all state and local regulations, and it's our goal, like the goal of this company, to keep everybody in Chelsea safe, and we will abide by all laws. I have been in contact with Chief Kais of the Chelsea Police. He is connecting me with a captain to go over our security plan and make sure it's to the Chelsea Police needs.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. This is a slide showing some of the equipment that he was just referencing. Okay, so what will a sale look like? We have this flow chart that we put together. I will go over it, bring us through. Okay, so customer arrives and is greeted by Trinity Naturals door staff who requests the ID from the customer. Customer is confirmed to be over 21, and the ID is scanned and verified. Door staff allows the customer into the trap room, which is a double locking door vestibule where the customer provides the verification staff through a security window their ID for a second time. The ID verification staff enters personal information of the customer into the point of sale system to track a once daily visit allowance, and the second door unlocks to allow customer access to the retail space. The bud tender meets the customer, reconfirms identification, welcomes the customer, then brings the customer to the display tables. The customer is allowed to visually inspect options within locked display cases. The bud tender physically shows products up close, as displayed in a single service case secured to the display table. The bud tender will allow the customer to smell but not to touch the product. Due to COVID, customers may no longer touch the display canisters. The bud tender provides information, answers any questions, and finalizes the selection with the customer. Once the customer has selected their product, the bud tender sends the customer to the cashier, and the cashier staff obtains product from the inventory closet. Cashier collects payment and hands product to customer. Products are handed over in a child-proof bag with a flyer about the handling of safe storage, and it will be provided to each customer, produced in coordination with our pharmacology consultant, Casale. The customer is directed to the exit, the verification staff check the customer, and the client exits the store. Okay, so parking and traffic. The retail store will occupy approximately 2,000 square feet. The space will be a total of 3,000 square feet after factoring in offices, break rooms, staff bathrooms, security room, and conference areas. We have secured 13 dedicated parking spaces along the 272nd Street property. 12 spaces is the minimum required. We have secured additional dedicated parking in the immediate area. In addition, we will have access by a memorandum of understanding with neighboring businesses and the building owner, Casale Development, to utilize free spaces during our hours of operation. The majority of our neighboring businesses operate on an opposite overnight schedule, and this will free up much of the property's additional parking. Finally, we will be seeking an agreement with our neighboring business at 282nd Street to utilize parking on an as-need basis. Traffic. We have engaged with a local engineering company to provide a comprehensive traffic study of the area. Impact, traffic flow solutions, and mitigation will be determined. While the current location has been used as a retail store for many years, we will be looking to ensure safety and minimal impact to the 2nd Street area. The study will be provided to the city upon completion for review and input. And we have some renderings and photos of the parking area. Entry view here. Inside view. Okay, so those are the photos of the parking. Okay, in conclusion, DMS brings the following to the Chelsea community: diversity and inclusion, community outreach and education, cannabis-specific technology, commitment to working closely with city agencies to foster a mutually beneficial relationship. We seek to create a business measured by more than simple profits. We strive to meet and exceed the expectations of our customers while respecting and supporting our community and neighbors. DMS will promote underrepresented populations, as well as encourage entrepreneurialism within the community. In closing, we are looking to make a positive impact on the Chelsea community and provide socially responsible access to cannabis through our diverse staff and use of advanced technology systems and a welcoming retail store. If there's any questions at this point, is this when that would take place?
I think that makes sense. I'll go over to
Okay.
the other room and try to help organize that.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you so much.
Speaking to the microphone. Hello, my name is Roy Reginetta, and I am here just for a clarification. Yesterday, I believe I received an email from Mrs. Blout, who is a party of the part of this group that is petitioning for a license here in the city. And in it, she asked me if I could get her in touch with Ms. Gladys Vega because she wanted to follow up with her, apparently from the meeting which she spoke about. And it was relative to the presentation tonight. I passed that message along to Ms. Vega. I have not received anything back yet, but today I saw in the Chelsea Record, again, that the statement was made that there was a connection between this petition and the Chelsea Collaborative. I was able to track down Ms. Vega today by telephone because those in Chelsea know I have a working relationship. I've participated with the food pantry, and I have a working relationship with Ms. Vega in particular, so I was concerned or wanted to find out what exactly this was all about. I happened to have been there the day that this meeting occurred, that was described here tonight. Ms. Vega wanted me tonight to pass along after the conversation I had with her to say the following. Her meeting was, in her opinion, an explanation of how the collaborative operates. At no point in time was there any sort of agreement in her mind to collaboration of this petition and that of the Chelsea Collaborative, which she had not even had a chance to present to the board of directors who she serves, if such a collaboration was to actually happen. I find it troubling, both in the tone that Ms. Vega described to me, her surprise by this, and that the fact that this is being presented here tonight. So again, I, as a city councilor who will later on possibly speak at the licensing board, I will take this as, I think, a misrepresentation of what is actually happening with one of our nonprofits, and it doesn't bode well. So I expect that Ms. Vega will, in her own manner, probably write a letter to the Chelsea Record and also to the members of the licensing board, and also just to reject the premise that there is this relationship or beneficiary agreement between this. So that was the purpose of tonight. It's not a question, but just a statement for Ms. Vega, who could not be here tonight herself, and asked me to speak for her. Again, as a city councilor, that alone bothers me because I don't think that's a good move on the part of the petitioner to try to describe a relationship that really doesn't exist. Thank you.
Do I have a chance to respond to that? Okay, the day that I met with Ms. Vega, she told me she was interested in working together. She had me send over bios on all of us so that she had an idea of what the group was all about, and that once she had reviewed the bios, she wanted an LOI, and if she was okay with everything, she was gonna sign it. I followed up with her, I would say 4 times via email and twice via phone, and that's why I ended up contacting you, because I wasn't really sure what next to do because she wasn't responding at all. And I figured if it was something she suddenly changed her mind on, she would have let me know. So her enthusiasm that day was palpable. So if I misunderstood, I apologize, but we did everything she asked us to do after that meeting, and we'd still like to work with her. Is that it?
There's no further questions or comments.
Okay. All right, thank you, everybody.